Okay, sure.
Oops. Yeah.
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Om Adhyana Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Mundeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Bhakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamritamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Bol, Hare Krishna. Nice to be with all of you here today. The format today is going to be a little different. I'm not giving a Bhagavatam class, a Bhagavad Gita class. I speak and you hear. And if you want to get sleep in between, take a snooze, take a break, come back, and things like that. Why? Particularly, this is a topic that I think is of great importance to everyone. Deeply. I have been asked by our temple president here, Abhidam, to speak specifically on this topic because he's always speaking it somewhere in Malaysia. It's a topic of great importance and very dear to my heart. I am Bhakti Vinoda Swami, by the way. I do quite some work with books in South India. I published Prabhupads books with a whole big team in Malayalam language in Kerala. We have just completed, for the past 2 or 3 years before, we just completed publishing all the books of Prabhupada. We finished the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Everything, so it's been like 85, 90 volumes of Prabhupada books in the past 25, 30 years. I work with a team of about 30 devotees, right from translation to proofreading to designing to all the press operations to publishing, printing, and then warehousing, dispatching, to the whole lot of the equipment. Very wonderful, dedicated devotees. And we are working on all the books again, having developed a glossary and the whole experience on how to get Prabhupada's book translated in another language. What does it mean? How to bring Prabhupada's spirit in the language that people know, things like that. Very wonderful team of devotees. So since books are very close to me and I operate doing everything, I call that Prabhupada's Sankirtan governance. Our society is ruled by Prabhupada's books. If you ask somebody to describe a democratic government, then you're told of the people, by the people, for the people. In our society, if you want anything happening very nicely, and one foundation is very important to understand. It's of the books, by the books, for the books of Prabhupada. For the books of Prabhupada, because we distribute them, we publish them, we instruct people from them, and things like that. It's a foundation basis. That's why Prabhupada said books are the basis. We specifically use that. Over a period of time, we get used to these things being mentioned, and we get used to not doing some of these things plus mentioning them also. And in this way, everything is normalized in different ways. So I want to make this foundational points clear. So I think we need to, we did this many years back, 15 years back or something, 20 years back, whatever. And as an educational program for, I run an academy there, we teach Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhava, Bhakti Vedanta, is just going to start 3 different languages, in Malayalam language, Tamil language, and English language. So there we did this session first called a Reading Reform. It's the title of a book once written by Bhakti Satsurup Maharaj on how we should get to reading properly Prabhupada's books. And so you will see here different things like why do we need to read Srila Prabhupada's books at all? What are the challenges to reading Srila Prabhupada's books? And what happens if we don't read, how to read, how to have affirmations with all these things. I don't know whether we'll go through all that, and it's got some practical sessions. So here I'm doing an overview because we're just doing a one-day session. We're going to crunch things into that. Okay, so why do we read Prabhupada's books? Very simple question I want to ask you. I don't have to think too much about it to be very right. What's the spontaneous answer you have? Why do we read Prabhupada's books? Say that again. You have a mic or something? Yeah.
We follow Krishna consciousness, so we know the philosophy back so that we can know what we are doing now.
Okay. You want to read because you want to have information about consciousness. Great. What else?
If we want to know,
You want others to hear it.
if we want to understand Krishna and we have to hear from the devotee.
If we want to know more Krishna, we have to hear and read from a pure devotee's perspective.
Okay. So Prabhupada's books are giving us information about Krishna. Who else? Why do we read Prabhupada's books? Yeah.
It's like a preface of a book. Prabhupada books are like a preface for this Krishna consciousness to understand the basis, the foundation of
Okay.
what Krishna.
So beyond the basis, it doesn't give you much information.
It gives, but later like Bhagavad Gita and all, those come with later Bhagavata.
Okay.
Before everything starts, that's like a preface.
Remember, Prabhupada said everything is in my books. Okay. Thank you. Who else wants to take a go? Can take association of Srila Prabhupada.
Association of Prabhupads.
Okay.
Prabhupads reads in his books.
Thank you. Anybody else?
We can always be Krishna conscious.
We can keep up our Krishna consciousness by constantly reading Prabhupada's books. Yeah.
Srila Prabhupada has said that as long as we read his books, he will be with us.
Okay.
And
Yes.
we get a lot of clarity, and each time we open the book, there is that's my personal reflection that I find answers to life.
Yes, you're right. These are some things that people speak when actually, because Prabhupada ordered us to do so. Very simple. First thing, the most important thing is Prabhupada said, read my books. And I come to that. How effectively, how deeply, how repetitively he mentioned that. And should we take that very seriously not? To become a pure devotee, that's the only means of liberation from the material world. There's a wealth of information about me, my life, God, and this world in it, and they provide great inspiration for chanting the holy name without offense. If I read, I'm able to chant better. If I chant better, I understand what I read better. And if I understand what I read better, I chant better. And this way there is a loop and a spiral that forms. You know, sometimes people read other books. Yes or no? What's wrong with it? Nothing wrong. But how do you feel when you read other books? What do you mean by other books? What do you mean by other books? What other books you read?
Self-help books.
Huh?
Self-help books. Self-help books.
Self-help books. I'm saying within the Krishna conscious movement, I know there are a lot of self-help guys also and self-help books also maybe. But within the Krishna conscious movement, you read other types of books also. Don't be afraid. I'm not going to report on you. You have, in your bookstore, you have books, right? Oh, you got a problem. Yeah. Anyway, my point is, this is an instance that I want to tell you that Prabhupada was sitting on his desk, like you see, appreciating, and the devotee came up to him and said, "I want to meet you." So he came up and he started talking things, and then he mentioned to Prabhupada that Bhakti Vinoda is his most favorite author. He told this to whom? To Prabhupada, he said. And Prabhupada just didn't say very much, he said, and kept quiet. And after some time again he said, that's why Vinoda Thakur is my most favorite author. He's my first favorite author. And then Prabhupada took his glasses out and looked at him and said, Vinoda Thakur is your second favorite author. And just put his glasses. Just there in the small nectar that you see something. He just told him on his face, Vinoda Thakur is your second favorite author. I am your guru telling you. I mean, these are parentheses I'm adding. He just told him that. What does it mean? What's the purport to that? Vinoda Thakur is your second favorite author. What's the purport? Huh? Read my books. What else? Who should be by default your first favorite author? He said it without saying it. Why? Why do you think so? Why do you think so? What did he say? Vinoda Thakur, my gosh, your Guru Acharya, your, Parameshti Guru. You're saying that he's not my best author. Why did he say that? He was bold enough to say that. I'm sure Vinoda Thakur was hearing that and said, great, thank you. That's what I don't understand. Great, this guy needs it. Prabhupada introduced us to Vinoda Thakur. Prabhupada has condensed all these teachings. He said, first you read my book. And then you'll find, if you find the need, it's not so easy to understand Vinoda Thakur's writings. You go and read it, some of the books, you really get confused. But the type of things that Vinoda Thakur is saying, some of those things he's saying, very difficult to understand. So Prabhupada is saying very clearly, read my books first. This is a quote, very famous, how can I please you, in a letter a devotee is asking. Prabhupada is directly saying, just read my books and follow the instructions that are given there. I found that when people read Prabhupada's books and deeply discuss it, most problems in the communities disappear. Lots of problems disappear. And people become far more serious in Krishna consciousness. This is a fact. You can ask anybody who focuses on reading Prabhupada's books. There's less problems, more maturity, and all sorts of things happen. So here Prabhupada is saying, I'm going to conduct examinations on the philosophy of Krishna consciousness because we have to reach this message to all corners of the earth. It's necessary. Not only am I asking you to read the books, I'm going to test how well you've read it, how well you've understood it, and I'll make sure that you read it. Why? Because there's no value. I may read my computer science book much better because I have to pass an exam, get a job, and everything. The motivation and value for it is far greater than, I can do that. I'll read it later. Bhagavatam, I did until I finish this. The motivation is, but you don't know that you will do the computer science much better if you read these books also. That's just some realization. I am stressing at this point that all of my students shall be very much conversant with the philosophy of Krishna consciousness and that they should read my books very diligently, at least 1 or 2 hours daily, and try to understand the subject matter from the writings and angles. Now he is pressing down. Must you spend time on it at least 1 or 2 hours. So how many of you want to go back to God and achieve Krishna Prema? Think about it before you raise your hands. How many of you want to go back to God at Krishna Prema and that's my goal of my life? Fine, you're going to get it only if you do this. Some of these things, you can't expect to get something without doing what leads to it. You can't expect to become a doctor without going to the college and going through a whole, medical degree and, taking what the possibility is required. Fine. Here is Prabhupada. Can somebody read it? You, go ahead.
If you want to stay in Krishna consciousness, you will have to develop firm faith in Guru and Shastra. Therefore, you must study my books very scrutinizingly follow the 4 regulative principles very strictly, and chant 16 rounds daily, avoiding the 10 offenses. Don't take this movement as something cheap. Srila Prabhupada.
Don't take this moment as something cheap. That's the main point here. Don't think we are just spending our time getting together, having a party. And you got to understand why you're doing what you're doing, what you want in life, and you should achieve it. This moment is meant for moving you to that. It's not something cheap. Prabhupada is saying. So this little intro to you. What did Srila Prabhupada say about his books himself? How many of you know that Prabhupada is a great author? Sure, right? There are so many books. So, what did Prabhupada say about his own books?
Transcendental ecstasies.
My
My purports are my transcendental ecstasies.
My purports are my transcendental ecstasies, he said. Wow. What else? What did Prabhupada say about his own books?
Krishna has inspired him to write, or Krishna has revealed it to him what to do with it.
You got it. Yes, you put it in your own words, but that's true. That's true. What else?
Purity is the force, books are the basis.
Pardon?
Purity is the force, books are the basis.
Yes, books are the basis, purity is the force. I'm specifically asking what did he say about his books. You'll be surprised to know. Here it is, extract. Satananda, you want to read? Who's got the mic? Here. One paragraph you read.
Sometimes I become surprised how I've written this. Although I am the writer, still sometimes I'm surprised how these things have come. Such vivid description. Where is such literature throughout the whole world? It is all Krishna's mercy. Every line is perfect.
Prabhupada is glorifying his own books. Can you see that? Wonderful. How nicely it has come out. Every line is perfect. It's such a vivid description of his own books. Why would somebody do that? It's very amazing. Why would somebody be so frank and open in this? Why would he do that? Read the next one. Krishna is perfect because every line is perfect as you, Srila Prabhupada, are also perfect. His disciple is saying that. Gurudas watched Srila Prabhupada laughing while reading his Krishna book. Gurudas, Prabhupada, you're laughing at your own books. Srila Prabhupada, I did not write these books. Krishna wrote them. Krishna sat here. Prabhupada pointed his shoulder. He wrote them. Now, this is a serious remark or not? Prabhupada stating it. He wrote, although I am the writer, this is amazing how I am writing all these things. And then he said, I didn't write it. It's Krishna who wrote it. He sat on my shoulder and told me, and I wrote it. I'm the scribe. I wrote that. The next, Srila Prabhupada, your dearmost friend Krishna sat on your shoulder and spoke to you just as Arjuna, dearmost friend of Krishna, stood before him and spoke to Bhagavad Gita. Krishna spoke to Bhagavad Gita. Then Prabhupada is asking again, do you know that I read my books every day? I learn something every time I read. Do you know why? Because I did not write these books. Every time I sat down to write, Krishna appeared and dictated to me what to write. So I'm not writing, Krishna is writing. This conversation is Krishna Swami and Ananda Devotee. I mean, very private quotes of Prabhupada saying, I like my books. I'm reading them. How did this come out of me? And I know it's Krishna who's writing it. Right? It's not an ordinary thing to say. In another instance, Prabhupada was reading his own book and he asked, have you seen any author reading his own book? And Prabhupada said, no, they're busy writing. I mean, his disciple said, no, they're busy writing the next book. So Prabhupada said, no, I read these books because it's not written by me. It's written by Krishna. And he reads the book. You should understand the relationship of Prabhupada with his books. Okay? Why does he come in his books? Okay, what happens if you don't read Srila Prabhupada's books? I am sure you have this experience. What happens, having understood the value of Prabhupada, having understood what Prabhupada said about his own books, what do you think is your experience when you don't read Prabhupada's books?
Doubt.
Speculating.
Yes?
Start speculation.
You start speculating.
Doubt.
You're full of doubt. What to do, what not to do, you don't know. What else?
Become stagnant in Krishna consciousness.
You become stagnant in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, you feel lost.
You feel lost. It's a very general term. Can you give something specific that happens to you? Something specific happens to you?
Philosophy won't be strong enough.
Your philosophy is strong enough, not strong enough?
To reach kindness others or for yourself and for others.
Okay, you become weak in the philosophy.
There is no roadmap. There is no roadmap to go on the Krishna consciousness.
Okay?
You don't know how to please, how to worship Krishna.
Okay? You don't have any knowledge, you don't know what to do. Great. What else?
You react to situations very differently, but when you read the book later, then you reflect how you could have reacted to the particular
So if
situation.
you're reading, maybe you won't react at all. Yeah, you will be very positive. You may proact. Okay, yes. Anybody else want to say what happens when you don't read? Say that. Correct. You're offending Prabhupada by not following the instruction he gave you to read. Okay? So don't expect to great results. This is a quote from Chaitanya that tells you exactly what happens to you. Ye leela amrita vinakaya yadi annapane tabe bhakter durbala jivana yar eka bindu pane utfulita tanumane hase gaya koraye nartana. Very beautiful song. Madhya Lila, 25th chapter, Shloka 279. Okay, who wants to read it? Read the translation in bold.
Men become strong and stout by eating sufficient grains, but the devotee who simply eats ordinary grains but does not taste the transcendental pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Kanhaiya,
No, Krishna.
Krishna gradually becomes weak and falls down from the transcendental position. However, if one drinks but a drop of the nectar of Krishna's pastimes, his body and mind begin to bloom, and he begins to love, sing, and dance.
What will happen to you if you don't, and what will happen to you if you do read? Okay? Purport. Read the purport.
All the devotees connected with the Krishna conscious movement must read all the books that have been translated, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and others. Otherwise, after some time, they will simply eat, sleep, and fall down from their position. Thus, they will miss the opportunity to attain an eternal blissful life of transcendental pleasure.
What will happen to you? You will eat, sleep, and follow. Without eating, sleeping, mating, drinking, and so on. Another one is here. Eat, sleep, and follow. Why? Because you didn't read. You didn't read Prabhupada's books. You didn't read Shastra. Prabhupada is saying, you give a very short purport to this, just to the point. That's all the purport is. If you don't, you'll just eat, sleep, and fall down from your spiritual position. There's no spiritual life for you, forget it. The translation says, eating grains makes you nourished, healthy and this and that, but don't eat ordinary grains. That's not enough. You simply eat ordinary grains and go fat. You need to eat spiritual food. You need to read, and that is feeding for you. And happy, we dance, we chant, and many things happen to you. You read carefully. So this is directly extract from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Okay? Do you need to be told how to read Prabhupada? No, I mean, I'm an educated guy in terms of background, I've done engineering and law, my computer science, and I'm working now. You don't teach me how to read. Do you read Prabhupada? No, I don't. Am I able to read? Yes or no? How many of you are finding it challenging to read Prabhupada's? How many of you find it challenging to read Prabhupada's books actually? You know the instructions are there. How many of you find it challenging? Due to many reasons, whatever they are. Alright? Yes, quite a few of us will find it challenging to read Prabhupada's books. And there are many reasons. And just before that, I'm going to just tell you, skimming the surface. This is from the Wikipedia. They did an extract of all the instructions of Prabhupada and grouped it on frequency, on the mood, and the method. What Prabhupada has mentioned. In frequency, Prabhupada has mentioned, go ahead. Read one each. From the column frequency, go ahead and read one each. You don't need the mic in this.
Again.
Fast, quickly. Next one. You don't need the mic this way.
Always.
Yeah. Fast. You can't see. Here. What do you see? As much as possible. Then?
As soon as you get time.
Then? At least 1 hour. Next?
At least 1 or 2 hours.
Then?
At least 3 hours a day.
Then? 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 Then?
Small stories.
Then? Then? Then?
One after another.
Then?
Over and over.
Then?
24 hours.
Then? Then?
Repeated.
Then?
Repeated whole life.
Then?
Throughout the day and the
Then?
whenever it is time.
All is extracted from Prabhupada's instructions. This is for frequency. Almost every type of frequency is covered. All the time, through your life. There's no, I mean, you can't escape it. And look at the mood. What does it say? Go ahead once more.
Can I ask you?
No, a question at the end of it. Yeah, question, write it down. Go ahead. Mood.
As it is spoken by Krishna.
Yeah, next.
Attentive.
Yes. This is the mood. These are all instructions on the mode of reading. Then let's go to method. From all angles of vision.
From different types of directions, from every point of view, from varieties of methods, inspecting the subject matter from all angles of approach and several new understanding. To understand the subject matter from different angles of vision, by discussing the with the cooperation of your God brothers and sisters, with the help of other devotees, with the help of brothers and sisters, and scientifically, step by step, cautiously.
There are any more doubts about reading Prabhupada? So much pains Prabhupada took to write these books throughout the whole night, publish them, bring them to us in so many different languages. I mean, no author would have done so much work with the people in mind. I'm writing this for the sake of the people, not for it to become a bestseller and not that I earn name and fame and get money. They have no such idea, otherwise you won't say all these things. totally meant for the welfare of people. So that's why he wrote, and he took a lot of things to write them. This is how we should read Prabhupada's books. And this shows you how important it is to Prabhupada that you read his books. And you read his books first before you read any other book. And you understand those other books much better from the basis of books are the basis. You read Prabhupada's books first. Okay? So I think this speaks it all to you. Go ahead. Somebody can read the quote.
In my books, the philosophy of Krishna consciousness is explained fully. So if there is anything which you do not understand, then you simply have to read again and again. By reading daily, the knowledge will be revealed to you. You may please me the most by reading my books and following the instructions therein.
Yeah. What happens? Some people say, I don't understand. What's he saying here? You read it again and again if you don't understand. You will understand. Prabhupada is so confident that Krishna will work in you as a super soul in your heart and give you the understanding. If you don't understand, you just read it again. You chant Hare Krishna one round and come back and again read. And you will understand. It's magic. It happens to you. It's not something that is like, I don't understand it, so I just reject it. I cannot read this anymore. I don't do this anymore. Prabhupada is saying you must. And you will understand if you read it again and again. You simply understand. Why? It's not happening, the understanding is not happening by your intelligence alone. It's Krishna's giving you the understanding. Krishna is giving you the understanding because you're trying. You're entering service. You're chanting Hare Krishna. It's something that's revealed to you. Isn't it? What does he say about it? Tesham evam kampartam aham ajnanajam tamah nashayami atmabhavasto jnana deepena vasvata. In that Prabhupada said, even if a person is not able to understand, he's not intelligent enough to understand, but if he tries to read and wants to understand, Krishna will make it possible to make him understand, because he wants it. Right? Eva anukampartham, out of mercy on that devotee. Aham ajnana jantamaya, the ignorance in his heart, the tamas in his heart I will destroy. Nashayami, atma bhavasto, jnana deep, and I will light the shining lamp of knowledge in his heart. Because Krishna, that's how our understanding is facilitated. Not because you are very intelligent and you have a PhD in something and you read and not understand it. It's mostly the PhDs who don't understand it. It's mostly the very simple guys who simple devotion who understand it very easily because it's born out of devotion. Krishna facilitates that very fast. This is a simple truth here. Each and every shloka should be very, very scrutinizingly understood. That should be the first business in the temple of all these books. We have got so many books. Simply if we make arrangement for selling, not for understanding, then it will be simply materialistic. Both things must go on. This is here right in Australia, speaking Bhagavatam, Melbourne, 1972. We must not only focus on selling and getting numbers, we sold so many books, we are awarded number 1, number 2, and then ask the question, do you read them? No, it doesn't matter. Numbers only matters. How many books we sold. Prabhupada is attacking that and saying that that's materialistic to do that. If you have not read my books, and if you simply sell it and get numbers and this thing, it's materialistic. So it's a very clear statement here. You must read my books. Because what will happen, when you read Prabhupada's books and you start understanding them, You will get excited. You want to sell these books. You want to distribute these books. Because people should get them. You understand their value so much. I want everybody to get this. You become mad wanting to distribute these books. Why? Because you know the value. You know the value of these books. Krishna is watching you very closely. Krishna is in your reading journey with you. Siksha afforded by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita and coming down in the line Evam Parampara Praptam, you will see that it's not ordinary reading, that it is assisted reading. Krishna will assist you in some way or the other. So Prabhupada is saying, scrutinizing the reading. Sometimes you wonder, how do I do that? I'm not able to understand it. But strong words of Prabhupada say, you do it, you'll get it. So often people ask how to read. It's a simple advice, we do a whole exercise on it. I tell devotees, sometimes devotees come and ask me, I finished chanting my 16 rounds, I want to chant 25 rounds, 30 rounds, 32 rounds. I tell them, finish chanting 16 rounds, 9 must read. Should I not chant? Chanting is the most important thing to do. No, you read. You finish the 16 rounds, you must read. By the time you have, you read. Then if you have more time, you chant your rounds, extra rounds. I think priority is to chant rounds. And the next priority is to read. Because if you read, you will chant better. And you chant faster, with more focus, This is my personal experience and the personal experience of many. Okay? So you do a first round of reading. Don't bother too much about what does this mean, I understand that. There are many things you won't understand in those books. Just read. One round of reading of the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavat, the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Just read it and you get an overall understanding of the basic philosophy. And the next round, second round of reading, you do study. First is reading, the next is study. First is reading doesn't mean that you don't have to understand, but you may understand some things you may not. But when you study, you better understand everything that's written there because you will write an exam. You can't say, I don't understand, just leave it. You can't write the exam. So you study. You make notes. The best way to make notes is to read and say, wow, that's great. I understood something new. You write it in your own words. In a brief way. That's what I will do. I do. Nowadays I'm not getting time to do it, but I will do. I've got lots of notes of my writing. I get excited about it in the night. I am somewhere in the bus stand, and a train, and a flight. I will write it in my mind. This is great. Prabhupada said this, I feel great about it. You are writing my own words. But you will remember it for good if you write in your own words. And you see that Prabhupada is saying that also. So, first round, just read. Second round, study. And if you can make some notes here or there, do it. Then, you share what you've written and what realizations you've had with somebody else. You use it in your talk. You talk one-on-one to somebody else. I read this in Prabhupada's books today. What do you think about this? And they will tell you, I too read this. That passage is good. You will stick in your head nicely. Reading, studying, note-taking, and sharing your realizations with others. Right? That's why preaching becomes very important. Why? Because when you preach, it's not that you prepare for talking. You don't have to always be prepared. If you're boiling with realizations, you want to talk. You just talk, and you speak it. You speak what Prabhupada is written very naturally. This is how it happens to most people. Then, of course, you can teach Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti whatever, and this will solidify your conviction of what you read and understood. So this is just a very brief. Otherwise, of course, we do reading, what really we do it this way. We read because it's part of the sadhana. Many people read because it's part of the sadhana. So I must read for half an hour a day. Prabhupada said 1 hour a day. Open the book, read. It's part of the sadhana. Keep reading on the watch 1 hour. I read. I chanted 16 rounds. I read for 1 hour. I saw a nice fun. Good, very safe. Just about on the borderline. I'm doing a sort of. And there are guys who study. Why? They're reading. It's over. I want to understand what exactly it is. So just study it. For my own sake. I have the time and I have the inclination, so I study. Then there are others, oh my gosh, I've got to give a talk today evening. Let's quickly read a BTG article. What's the theme for today? I'll make up the theme. I'm the leader of the group, the Bhakti Vriksha group, so I can say whatever I say, I listen to. So I'm going to talk something, quickly read something from the Bhagavad Gita. The shloka looks good. Let's read it. Prepare for the talk, take notes down. And just for the talk. I read for the talk. Otherwise I don't read. Why? I'm very busy. I just read for the talk. Sometimes people have the time. They serve, they do the sadhana, and they sit peacefully and read. And because they do all these things together, their reading is deep. And they have realizations from what they read. And they make notes. And they think deeply about it. It really changes them. It changes their lifestyle. Many things happen. So these are different types of readings that people do. You may have other reasons also while you're reading. Because Bhakti Shastra exam is coming up. Or listening. There are many reasons. And they're legitimate. Good. But which out of these would you choose? Which out of these would you like to do? Or move up to? 4. Right? Why? Why? Exactly. You're living that life. You want to know about that life and I want to live it. It's a lived experience. The books of Prabhupada become a lived experience. If you live it, you will see it works. And then you want to adopt it and you want to give it to others. You're confident because it works for me. That's the reason why. So, what are the challenges you have to read Prabhupada's books? Now, let's do some practical thing. What are the challenges you would possibly have? Time. Yes. That eternal thing called time, which we live through and slips through our fingers. And by the time it is time for eating, it's also time for sleeping. How did the day pass away so fast? I just got up. And I've been planning all along to read, but it's time to sleep. It's 9 o'clock, it's 10 o'clock. Yeah, what else? Consistency. Consistency is not there. And it's sporadically, erratically, you can read here and there. Fine, until you read. What else? Conviction and committed to it. Are there any other things that you commit yourself to in your life? Regularly, like what? Eating. Good. What else? The job. You'll be out of job, you'll be out of eating also. What is speak of eating? Forget it. Yeah? Yeah. You forget what you read. You forget to read or you forget what you read? You forget what you read, you said. So, why isn't that a big problem? Okay, let's take what she said. She said, I forget what I read. I'll ask you another question. Is there other things that you remember when you have read? You don't remember? You don't remember the letter your daughter wrote to you 2 weeks back? You read every letter of it, you remember, yes or no? Why? You remember your bank statement, right? How much money you got? You remember or not? You remember what the investor told you? You got so much money, you invested here. You remember it or not? Why do you remember that? And why you don't remember this? Why? Pardon? Or you may consistently keep looking at your investment all the time. Why? That's the point there. Why?
Taking it serious.
You're not taking it seriously. Your investment definitely will take it very seriously. Right? Where you have an interest, remember, you are not paying value, so you don't remember. Money is of great value, but you don't remember. You're invested here, you lose it, your life is gone. Yeah, we live in a world which the values are, if you pay value, if you pay interest, if you pay this into it, you will remember. Where our interest is, where our attention is, we make an impression in our memory and we will remember that. It's important to you. It's important to you. So the exercise about, is it important to me to read Prabhupada's books? That you should be convinced of. Then you will see that you remember. You will see that you remember. Because it's important for my life. So you see the foundational difference. It's what Prabhupada is saying so many times. The mood, the frequency, and all that he's saying. You've got to cultivate that. So I thought that's an interesting challenge that you have. Anybody else? Dwelling into other things that we read. Is it important to read or not important? All those things.
We know that when a place to do our job, but sometimes we try to make
Yeah. When we talk together like this, we have all the reasons framed very nicely. But, otherwise we simply attracted to information. Of what is going, what did Trump say, what, Canadian PM said, what did Narendra Modi do next? And, these are the things in the early morning feed, you got to immediately get it, the latest information. Eagerness, that's our addiction. But nothing wrong in maybe getting informed, maybe you did in your job and staying informed. But you see people discipline themselves that, okay, I need to know this, spend about 10-15 minutes on this news. You can discipline yourself, you can also, make a timetable for yourself. Sometimes people do that. I know people who, their job is that you got to know all these things. Plus they also make sure that they sit and read. And they spend time on that. It's a question of discipline. Prabhupada did not say that you should not do this. There's a conversation Prabhupada saying, so what did the rascal say? Read the newspaper and tell me, so what do the rascals say? And then he told the temple person that you don't read the newspaper, you must read it. The temple person, you should know what's happening. You don't read the newspaper. I don't have time to read your books. Now you're telling him. No. So it's not that Prabhupada says don't read at all and things like that. It's very open. Prabhupada never said anything so much black and white in situations and circumstances. He felt a little grayish stuff on this. That's up to you to work it out. You didn't make it, get at the detail of your life and make it black and white. You just said you worked out. I'm asking you, you're a temple person, you got to read the newspaper. You got to know what's happening in your town, what the mayor has said, what the chief minister has said, what's the new policy, how you can preach, how it's going to affect your preaching, what you can do, public performance or not. You better be aware, right? That the government is giving out free lands for temples, you go and grab it. If you didn't read the newspaper, you lost it, right? So many things you also get to know. It's not that you don't have to read. Depends on whether there is necessary for you to read or not. And so you can, prioritize properly. Yes, no time, social media distraction, I have no taste, weak sadhana, nobody study, nobody wants to read with me, and generally apathetic, indifferent to it. I just don't know how to read. Some people just don't know. These are very honest. I picked out from all the exercises we did, some things which are valuable. I do a practical exercise with this and have groups discussing, and they come up with all sorts of amazing things. Very animated discussion. This happens to me when I read, I fall asleep. And I normally read in the night so that I can fall asleep. So, all sorts of discussions there. Interesting. I just go around the group and say, boy, it's a sleeping pill, Prabhupads books. So people have animated discussion there. Some of them is here that if I have somebody company with me, I will read. So we did reading buddies. Reading buddies, and we had them connect online, and many people came online. I just read for half an hour in the lunchtime. After the lunch, I just read with so many people together online. And read Bhagavatam every day for half an hour. They read cantos, so many. And they're feeling excited. And that thing is increasing. If I have company, sometimes I feel easy to read. I like to read. And there's a little reflection at the end of it. Every session, one person reflects for 2 minutes. Or 2 people reflect for 2 minutes each. It's like 5 minutes. So they read and they end, they give the 5 minutes to you. It's your turn. And he's ready to say things. He says it for 1 minute, somebody else comments on that. And they have great fun time during the half an hour. They have a lot of information. Right? I think sometimes people like to read in small spurts. That works very powerfully. Early morning, you get up before Mangalarti, you just read 10-15 minutes. After Mangalarti, chanting and everything together, read another 15 minutes before you go to work or something like that. Then at the workplace in the afternoon, you open up and you read because I have time. Then in the evening, before I go to rest and after I finish everything, I read. I see they cover about 1 hour of reading a day. And I see bursts, small spurts, and it's more effective. And I'm very excited. When you ask me to read for 1 hour a day, sit down and read, it's difficult for me. I'm asleep, I get distracted. I heard this from one person saying, it's all I read. I carry the sleep and it's over and read. So these are many different ways in the technology that you could do many things also. And take up these challenges. All right. What reading affirmations that you could do? Here's the quote. Can you read the quote? One of the ladies can read the quote. Chance to somebody who is not there.
I'm requesting all of my students to read my books very seriously every day without fail. In this way, if your mind becomes absorbed at least 1 or 2 hours daily in the transcendental subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and other books, then very easily you will make your advancement in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah. Okay. We have more or less done. Jai Shri Shri Radha Shanti Okay, we are more or less done. I would like to give some space for questions and some discussion. But before that, I want to show you the history of book distribution. You must have heard some of it, but this is interesting since we're talking about Prabhupads books. In India, the Mughal period started in 1526. Before that, the Lodi dynasty ruled in India. Right? The Mughal rule started with Babur, B-A-B-U-R, Babur. Now, Babri Masjid built by Babur was destroyed in India. And that now you have temples built. So Babur started in 1526. It was a famous battle, the Battle of Panipat, that he fought. And he finished with Ibrahim Lodi, and the Lodi dynasty, and he took over. And he was a very powerful king, Babur. Lord Chaitanya appeared in 1486. So for 8 years during the time of Babur, he was there on this planet, right here in India. When Mughal rule started, Lord Chaitanya was here. 1486 to 1526. Lord Chaitanya passed away in 1534, or concluded his pastimes. 1526 to 1534 is 8 years. 8 years while the Mughal rule was going on under Babur, he was actually there. And I noted that when he destroyed the Babri Masjid, Lord Chaitanya was there. He destroyed Lord Ramchandra's temple and built the Babri Masjid. Sorry. He built the Babri Masjid. There was a Ram temple there on the birth site. He destroyed it and built the Babri Masjid. And Lord Chaitanya was there on the planet. In other words, Ramachandra was right there while his temple was being broken. It's interesting, these dates. Right? Because he was doing something else. He was busy doing Harinam, Sankirtan and teaching the Goswamis in Vrindavan, excavating Vrindavan and everything. You can go ahead and finish Ayodhya, our temple, doesn't matter. I'm starting a new chapter. Maybe you just like it. So it's interesting these days. Lord Chaitanya's disappearance in 1534. And then you'll see there amongst the Mughal rulers come Akbar. And Jiva Goswami is very active and the Goswamis are slowly disappearing. And Jiva Goswami meets with Akbar. Akbar comes to meet Jiva Goswami. It's very interesting history. And he got a grant from Akbar for his library. Because all the Goswami's works, those days it was like, only one copy available on leaves. Just remember, only one copy available. If you want to read Chaitanya Charitamrita, you have to go and read Jiva Goswami and take permission, be very careful, read it under lamps. You have to sit and read. Just imagine how difficult it is to get a book to read. Only one copy there. And then Jiva Goswami wanted to preserve those things. He wanted to preserve those things. They are very precious. And Rupa Goswami is going, Sanatana Goswami left. He was in charge of maintaining all this. So he very carefully maintained that. He made one copy and sent it to Bengal. You know that famous King Birambi incident. All of the Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivasa Acharya and Shyamananda Pandit carry the books. They have security of few soldiers and a big truck drawn by horses or bullocks, I don't know. They walked all the way from Vrindavan to Bengal. In the nights they stayed awake and they just kept guard over it and they sealed it completely. All the manuscripts, all the copies of all the great Goswamis and Acharyas writings. Only one copy available. So he made a copy and took it to Bengal. He said, let there be two copies. One gets lost, the other one. So because at that time, many things were going on in history. The Mughals, in the line of the Mughals comes this Khilji dynasty, Bhaktiar Khilji is a guy famous for destroying all the libraries in India. He's the one who burnt Nalanda University. And he burnt Nalanda University, he put the scholars also inside because the manuscript burned for 2.5 months. There were so many manuscripts. He burnt all of them. And he said, you guys also burn with it. All the scholars and the Brahmins were burnt and locked in it. They burned for 2 months because there were so many manuscripts. All rolled up and kept in a nice library. The scripts are kept differently, right? So those things were happening. So Jiva Goswami was definitely very worried. One attack from these guys, God, everything. So you can imagine the anxiety and to preserve it. So he did this. And then he got this grant from Akbar. And Jiva Goswami did amazing things to keep his works. These are the things we got now in the form of books of Prabhupada. Because these were preserved by Jiva Goswami, it has come out in the form of printed matter. Now you have Bhagavad Gita all over the place. You have Chaitanya Charitamrita all over the place, Bhagavatam all over the place, and they are reaching into every house, every place. Can you imagine a situation where I want to read Bhagavatam and I don't find it? And I got to go to Vrindavan, travel by foot all the way, go there and read. How will you do? How will you feel like reading? You are talking about what are the challenges you have in reading. Imagine how far apart this is. You got the books right under you and I don't open it. Under my nose, I don't feel like opening. These are my challenges in Kali Yuga. So you just imagine. So he preserved those things. so important because he knows in the future this thing is going to be written in copies spread all over the world. You got to preserve it. So that's why he did the first book distribution started. Then came a big lull after Jiva Goswami, I think the great vacancy. The British rule started in India. And you have Vinoda Thakur. He came and awakened the whole Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy and history. He wrote books. He wanted to find a copy of Chaitanya Charitamrita, he couldn't find it. He wants to read about Lord Chaitanya. He went on looking for it and used his powers as a magistrate to get himself a tattered, finally, old copy of Chaitanya Charitamrita. He read it and he was in ecstasy on Lord Chaitanya and he became a great follower of Lord Chaitanya's teachings and he started preaching the holy name. This is how he started. After him came Bhakti Saraswati Thakur, who established institution of Gaudiya Math, and he started printing and publishing. The most important thing is to print a lot of these things and have it available everywhere. He started printing, used the printing machine. He wrote commentaries and then he started printing them and distributing them and teaching them. Then came Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada as the last holder of the patent in the relay race across the finishing line. He took that and said, boy, let's take it and print it in 1 million languages and throw it all over the world. There'll never be any dearth of the scripture. What the Goswamis have written. So we are in that period where we have challenges of reading books in a completely different way. They're completely different. So we are the next generation after this generation. This is if you look at this, the first generation, Lord Chaitanya and the Goswamis, he gave them instructions and told them to write. He didn't write himself, right? The Dashashwamedha Ghat in Prayag, he spoke to the Goswami. Then he spoke to Sanatana Goswami. Then he got a mouth of Haridas Thakur, the glories of the holy name. Then on the Sabhu Vatacharya, he got the real meaning of liberation explained by him. In this way, he asked all of them to write and speak and everything. That was first. The second generation was Jiva Goswami and Narottam Das Thakur, now preserving the writings and carrying it further. Then the third generation is these three great personalities. And the fourth generation is you and me. All we are asking is, please at least read the books. Everything is done, please read the books. And if you like them so much, why don't you distribute them? Please distribute them. I was in South Africa getting a BBD presentation in, what's that place, capital? No. A famous place. Anyway, I'm really brilliant. They were giving a PVD presentation, there was all day like Maharaj and all of that, and I did a presentation. Then they did an amazing play. The devotees, so imaginative. They had 3 layers. One, people standing on the floor and distributing books. It's like a busy marketplace, and the book distributors, sir, this book is about this. And the guy just shoves them off. And this is it's about yoga and all that. I have no time to even each one is talking to each and trying to sell the books on this level. Then they have a big table at that level, and on top of that they have all the acharyas watching. It's like Prabhupada, Bhakti Thakur, Vinoda Thakur, the Goswamis, and all of them watching what's going on. Right? And Bhakti Thakur, others are telling Prabhupada, why don't you, tell him, they're talking on themselves, the acharyas. Then above that is Lord Chaitanya and the Panchatattva. And above that is Krishna. Let's put a figure of Krishna there, but it's Panchatattva like this. They're standing. Everybody is talking about, look at this guy trying to distribute. And everybody is talking, everybody is connected. And this conversation, some of those conversations were made live while we were talking. It's so moving that, the effort of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada in writing these books, putting them in so many languages and having them distributed was glorified down all these levels. The Goswamis are talking about it, the Panchatattva are talking about it, this conversation about it. Bhakti Vedanta Swami, I mean, he did an amazing thing. And some of them are laughing at how all the lechas and all everybody's reading a page. And they're laughing. So the whole thing going on. It was so moving. It was so moving. The effort of Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada to do what he has done in history, in the context of the whole thing happening. Everybody has been waiting along the whole parampara right from Krishna for this to happen. You know, it was an explosion that this information of Krishna consciousness will go to everybody in all languages. So our generation is supposed to do that. Supposed to read it and distribute it and teach it. You don't have any great job of writing and all that like the Goswamis said. Lord Chaitanya told the Goswamis to write. They gave up their jobs, they gave up their money, they gave up their status. Tyaktva purnamase shamandalapatim shrenim sada tuchhavat bhutva dina ganeshika kaupina kantashito. Just wearing a kaupin alone, there's such rich people, very sophisticated people. They sat down and wrote this for us. What you're holding in your hand, that's why Prabhupada is saying, I didn't write them. I didn't write them, it's just coming down. I'm supposed to do this. And it's happening. It's not my books. Don't just read them. They're not my books. I didn't write them. Please read them. He's begging. Scrutinizingly read them. Read them for 1 hour a day, 2 hours a day. Please. He's talking so much about it. And at the end of it, if you don't read Prabhupada's books, I think we are very rash, brutish, ill-mannered, no proper etiquette. I don't know what other nice English word I could use, which would be more cultured. Right? Isn't it so? What do you think? Yeah. Okay, that's it. Oh, that's it. There are many more things, but I won't talk to you about those innocent things. Any questions? I know it's time to sleep. Yeah. Can you have the lights on?
Sometimes so reading better here. So is reading as effective as is hearing classes as effective as reading. So if I spend 1 hour reading,
please hear, but you must read. It's not substitute for reading. Because Prabhupada told us to do so. And it's recommended. You see, when you hear, you're hearing another person's realization. When you read, you generate your own realization, which is first hand. Hearing another person's realization is second hand. You know what we call in psychology a vicarious participation. Second hand. It's his realization, it doesn't become yours. Okay? It's good for cutting and pasting. But when you read and you think about it, you generate your realization. That is when our real understanding occurs. Of course, you will hear it reinforced and you can ask questions, you can get clarifications and everything. But reading is an experience of your own, which cannot be substituted. Okay? Yeah, any other question? No? Yeah.
Almost like 24 hours a day reading. So that would mean reading and reading.
It's proper statement.
Prabhupada 24 reading.
Read means is so important. And you must read as much as you can. It will help you. You want to try it?
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, Jai Ho. If you don't have any other questions, I want to call it a day so that you can get back home and do the reading. And many other things that you need to learn already if you want to talk anything else. Okay. Jai Ho, Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Holiness Bhakti Vinoda Swami Maharaj ki Jai. Sadhana said last time.